Today I'm pretty excited to show you guys this. It's taken me a little while to figure it out, but I've been wanting to set up my APM 2.5 for hardware in the loop simulation. And what hardware in the loop simulation allows you to do, it allows you to simulate missions and behavior of your APM, and how you think you have it programmed will translate to sending commands to a simulator software such as Flight Gear or X-Plane. So in this first video, I'm going to demonstrate just remotely controlling your plane via your transmitter, and in subsequent videos I'll demonstrate how to test, let's say, a mission that you've set up in Mission Planner and how that will translate to your software simulator. This is X-Plane. In the demo version you only have access to the Seattle airport, so you don't get full featured functionality, but it's still a good way to test. You can see I'll give it full throttle all the way up. So where this comes in handy, I mean, of course it's fun to sit here and fly this little RC plane. Where it gets exciting is when you can actually plan your missions and do autonomous flight and see how that works. So you can just, right now this is a demonstration of how to set everything up, and you can see I'm able to control this plane. Do a little barrel roll. Little loop. You see this big airliner that I'm flying up on. Check out this guy flying up real quick. Just do a little flyby. See if we can chase him. He's got a little bit more power than our RC motor. Okay. Hardware setup is pretty straightforward. Receiver, your 4 channels going into your APM board, and then we have our APM connected to our computer via USB. Okay, with our APM connected to Mission Planner, we're going to go to Initial Setup, and to get the hardware in the loop configuration working, we need to install the proper firmware. In this case, I'm going to install the Plane firmware, and we'll let that proceed. We have our simulator firmware loaded, so we're going to go over the simulation tab, and by default we're going to use X-Plane. Here's a great wiki page that shows this setup. I spent a lot of time going through this to get this working, so I'll put that link in the description below. And here is the xplane.com site where you can download a demo version for free. I have a version on my Mac, and it works nicely. I probably plan on upgrading soon. Okay, so when you fire up X-Plane, you're going to have Seattle selected by default. Just leave that alone. In the demo version, I believe you only can fly in Seattle. And we're going to go to Radio Control in the PT60 RC, and we'll go ahead and click Fly with these options. Now, this will take a minute. This program is pretty resource intensive, and especially when I'm running parallels and windows on top of this, so don't be alarmed if this takes a little bit for you to get going. And you'll probably get prompted with this screen about joystick being ignored after 15 minutes. Let's just click Understood. And here you can see we're in the software. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the P key to pause it. Now the next important step that we need to do is go into our settings, and you'll look at the data input and output. And this is explained in the APM wiki, which settings you need to have configured here. So you can see what I have checked, and we'll go ahead and close out of that. And the other incredibly important setting are your net connection settings. So we'll go over to Data, the Data tab. So by default, you'll see this set to 127.0.0.1. which, if you're running X-Plane and Mission Planner on the same machine, that should work. But in my case, since I'm using Parallels for Mission Planner and then my native OS 10 for X-Plane, I have to use this IP. So that's covered in the APM wiki as well, but just to note that you probably won't be using this IP, you'll be using the default. You'll want to check that box, and that's all you need to do for your X-Plane configuration. Let's go back to our Mission Planner, and we're going to make sure that X-Plane is selected, and we want to check X-Plane 10. At the same time, you'll notice that I have reversed my pitch here. I've done this previously, and I had to do that. So you can do that at your transmitter level or do it here with one of these toggles. The other very important thing is for the simulator IP. Once again, we're going to need to use that 10.0.1.16. And that's mine. You'll most likely be able to leave yours alone. You can see where it defaults to. And that's software in the loop. We're not worried about that. We're going to leave the default ports. And now we should be ready to go to test our hardware in the loop simulation. So let's kick this off. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to connect to our APM. Okay, we're connected, and let's go ahead and start our simulator link. So I'm just going to click that, and you'll see that it's listening and sending data. It says SimLink started. So let's go over to X-Plane. Now I'm going to close this window, and my transmitter's on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the P key to unpause. So the brakes are on. I'm going to hit the B key to turn them off. And let me just give a little throttle. I'm going full throttle. And then I'll pitch back a little bit. And looks like our inputs are working well. You may need to trim your different stick inputs, but it shouldn't take too much work. You see we're kind of flying around at the airport. Sticks are real sensitive, but should work well. Let me go ahead and land it. And you can actually change the different views from outside the cockpit, but I don't really have a whole lot of experience doing that yet. So as I learn, I'll be sure to share how to do different things. That was a demonstration of using the APM Plane firmware for hardware in the loop simulation. And as you saw, I was flying it in manual mode. So I'm going to be working towards planning some missions and just doing some bench testing, in front of my computer with the X-Plane flight simulator. And I'll be sharing how that works as soon as I learn more. There are just so many amazing little things that you can learn about this board. I feel like I'm learning something new every day. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I know there was a lot of information related to configuration of your IP addresses, but should hopefully be straightforward. And until next time, thanks for watching.